What's going on, everyone? So the San Antonio Spurs drafting Dylan Harper. Excellent pickup. Really excited to see how does he translate in the NBA. Is he every bit the guy that many believe he's going to be? But one of the concerns that I brought up and talked about and made videos on is kind of this now log jam, particularly at the guard position, right? You have Devin Vassell, you have DeAaron Fox, right? You have, a Stephon Castle, you have a Dylan Harper, and Vassell's probably the odd man out. I think he probably gets traded at some point. But even then, you still have DeAaron Fox, Stephon Castle, and now Dylan Harper. How does that work? Are you going to go super small for the rest of the next 5 years or whatever with DeAaron Fox, Castle, and Harper? Probably not. And also Harper is probably best as the guy that is your engine and has the ball in his hands and is the Cade Cunningham, the SGA, the James Harden type of player that many believe that he is, right? So if you can go and kind of unload one of these guys, it's probably it's almost something that feels like it's going to have to happen sooner rather than later. Now, I don't think it's something that has to happen right now. I don't think it necessarily has to happen this year, but I do think you're going to have something in the next probably year or two where the Spurs look to move one of those guys. If a Giannis becomes available or something like that, then maybe it does happen as soon as this year. But I'm not the only one that says this, right? It was recently reported by Kevin O'Connor that the Spurs are likely going to have to move off of one of these guys. So again, this is from Kevin O'Connor. The Spurs could move on from either Dy'Aaron Fox, Stephon Castle, or Dylan Harper, number 2 pick, per Kevin O'Connor, NBA. The Spurs probably don't trade for Dy'Aaron Fox if you know you're going to end up with Dylan Harper. It's just a matter of what path do they take when they do shake things up in that backcourt. So according to Kevin O'Connor, he believes that they're going to do it. Like it's almost an inevitability, which I kind of do too. I do think sooner or later they're going to end up having to trade one. And I've talked recently about Dy'Aaron Fox being one of those guys that gets traded, right? I've talked about Dy'Aaron Fox being the guy that you move because, again, your whole argument is that like, hey, you were the guy. We wanted you. The plan was to get you and then go get the piece. Because I talked about, like, you don't go get a 28-year-old all-star point guard to sit on your hands and do nothing, right? Like, you don't get him to develop over the next 4 to 5 years, right? Because then at that point, he's already aged out and declining and all that stuff, right? So I think if you're the Spurs, you can go to Dy'Aaron Fox and be like, look, dude, like, when we traded for you, we didn't know we were going to get the number 2 pick in this year's draft. We didn't know we were going to get Dylan Harper in this draft. Right? We thought you were the guy. It was you, Stephon Castle, Victor Wembanyama, and kind of putting the core pieces around it. But now we got Dylan Harper, Stephon Castle, Carter Bryant, Jeremy Sohan, Victor Wembanyama, right? Like we have all this young core that's like, are we really going to break up this young core for Dy'Aaron Fox? Right? Dy'Aaron Fox is a fantastic player. Like Giannis, if Giannis becomes available, maybe, because at least that's justifiable. But what are you going to do? You're going to trade, Stephon Castle for, some random role guy, right? Or maybe a couple role guys, like sure. But like, again, like what are you going to get? Right? It doesn't make sense. Where Dy'Aaron Fox is a guy that I think you can unload. Like I think you can move off of him. His salary is big enough to where you might be able to get a couple players in the trade in a deal that could maybe be some rotation pieces and whatnot. But also, I beyond the salary and then just him being the most sizable tradable guy that you could get, still young enough to where a lot of teams would really like Dy'Aaron Fox. You didn't give up anything for him. Like that's the other big thing. Right? Like if they sold the farm to go get Dy'Aaron Fox, it's kind of like, yeah, you have no choice. You got to kind of keep him. But they didn't. They could probably get the bare minimum from a team and still would probably be more than what they gave up for Dy'Aaron Fox. They didn't give up anything for Dy'Aaron Fox, literally. Right? They gave up John Collins and Trey Jones, right? That's not a big deal. I understand they gave up Chicago's pick stuff, but that was already their pick, right? They didn't sell the farm to go get Dy'Aaron Fox. They'd probably get more for Dy'Aaron Fox than what they gave up. Problem is, what does Dy'Aaron Fox want? Right? Because and this is why I don't know if you necessarily trade him this year, because Dy'Aaron Fox, he has to sign a new contract. He wanted to be with the Spurs. Now, again, you are honest with Fox, and you just go, hey, look, dude, like, The plan was for you to stay around here, right? It's what you want. That was the plan for us too. And then we ended up landing what could be a generational talent in Dylan Harper. That wasn't the expectation. That wasn't the plan. The plan was get you and really start expediting this thing around you and Victor Wembanyama. And then we got Carter Bryant and Dylan Harper, two guys that could end up being stars for us in a handful of years, right? Things change. He's a professional. He's old enough. He's going to get his bag regardless. It's like, dude, trade you where you want to go, right? You still got time. Go get you to it. What team do you want to go to? And the beauty is, too, for the Spurs, is because they got him so cheap, they can send him literally probably wherever he wants to go. Like, genuinely. Right? So it's like, hey, what team, like, if he's like, I want to go to Minnesota, right? Like, you could go to Minnesota and go get, pieces from Minnesota, right? Problem is, Naz Reid just signed. And I talked about this in a previous video, and I was like, and then like literally an hour later, like Naz Reid ends up signing that extension, right? But look, maybe at like the trade deadline, you end up trading for him or something like that, right? Because maybe if you make DeAaron Fox available, there's going to be teams that are interested in DeAaron Fox. You make DeAaron Fox available, there's going to be teams that are like, oh man, maybe we should go make a play, go make a move for him, right? Can you maybe get some quality pieces, right? Can you maybe turn DeAaron Fox to Utah and turn him into, I don't know, a Walker Kessler and Spurs are supposedly interested in John Collins. Maybe you can get a Walker Kessler and John Collins, right? And you get a versatile, sizable, athletic wing that can be a legit 3-and-D guy for you, and then you go get a franchise center that you can slot alongside Victor Wembanyama. I also like the idea of Wemby being the power forward just based on the style of play in which he wants to play, right? It's probably best for him to be slotted in at the power forward position. But again, it doesn't have to be this year. Like, I want to be very clear about that. I'm not saying like the Spurs have to go run to the door and trade DeAaron Fox or Castle or anybody, right? Like, you can let things develop. Like, you can give it time, right? Even if it's next year, next trade deadline, right? You could do that. And even from DeAaron Fox's standpoint, it could be one of those things where it's like, hey, let's get the bag. Let me finish that statement first. But like, let me get the bag and then I'll figure it out after, right? But also another thing too is like, if you're the Spurs, you might want to watch. Like, okay, what if like Fox and Harper are really good together, right? Like, what if like the two of them, like Harper gets to play the two, gets to be the secondary playmaker rather than the primary playmaker, but he gets to be more of a scorer, bucket getter, and him and Fox just work beautifully. Right? Maybe you don't want to trade Fox at that point. Maybe you're looking to trade Stephon Castle. Not because you don't like Stephon. Like, if you had to choose between Dylan Harper and Stephon Castle, I'd probably take Dylan Harper. Right? Like, I just think Dylan Harper, the upside's bigger, greater. And this is coming from a guy that said before the Spurs drafted him, by the way, that I thought Stephon Castle was the best player in last year's draft. But that draft was also not great. Right? Like, what would Stephon Castle have been in this year's draft, right? Where would he been? I still think he probably would have been, top 10 player, maybe even a top 5 player. But he is a guy that, I really like Stephon Castle a lot. I don't want to undersell Stephon Castle. I want him to be a cornerstone for this franchise for a long time. I really like that he's like the Swiss Army knife type player. And I think he'd work with anybody. But again, like, if it's like, okay, we have to trade Castle or we have to trade Fox, but Fox and Harper are just playing so good together, right? Like, that might be what you have to do, right? It might be like, hey, like, this is the move that we're going to make. And some Spurs fans might not like it, but at the end of the day, it's like, what, don't you want the team to be the best version of themselves possible? Right? Like, especially if you're winning and doing all that stuff. So that's why I don't want to see them jump the gun. I don't want to see them trade DeAaron Fox because it's like, oh, well, we got these two young guys that we want to build out. Like, give it a season. Like, let's see. You don't need to rush it. You don't need to do anything too crazy. The only problem is that DeAaron Fox could go into unrestricted free agency, right? Especially if he thinks like, hey, there's a chance that they could trade me, or like a good chance they could trade me. Hey, let me, pack my bags and get out of here before they send me somewhere I don't want to go. I sign a new contract and then now I have no say or anything, and I end up going to some team I don't want to go to. Right now I'm in Washington, and I never wanted to be in Washington, or Utah, and I never wanted to be in Utah or something like that. But Anyway, as always, this is a discussion. That's a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.